the part of the communities to celebrate. As you see here, you will be seeing the animals. I'm very certain that Dalton, you are going to see animals gathered together you have never seen in your life. Everybody you see around putting on jackets, those are not the people to distribute the meat. These are the people ready to slaughter. The slaughtering has already started, and we expect to slaughter thousands and thousands of animals as we wait the third Deputy Prime Minister, Right Honorable Rukia Isanga, who is joining us shortly from Mayuge, where she had her prayers. As I told you, Dalton, that this program you see here is all over the country. Specifically, we are here in Busia, where we decided to camp with our partners to make sure that these 3 days, takes 3 days. After today's Eid, there are those 3 days that comes after. Oluzungu ruba luzibu naye mu Luganda bakiyita kwanika ennyama. Okwanika ennyama. You cannot slaughter all these cattle, animals, and be taken away in a single day. Our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam decided to add other 3 days, of course, an order from his creator for people to benefit. The meat we are going to slaughter in Busia is not specifically for the people you saw. We had Eid together. It is the meat for everyone. It is for all humanity. Ibrahim or Abraham wasn't for only Muslims, Christians, or Hindus. These prophets come for humanity, for everyone. So the act we are doing today, slaughtering, remembering the act of Abraham and Ismail, is what we are doing today. And Dalton, the history you have been giving people, I'm sure they are aware. If it is these animals which Allah exchanged from the Abraham slaughtering his son Ismail, today, Dalton, you would be looking into your children, and the most fat one would be slaughtered today. But instead, we are going to slaughter animals for the good of humanity. As we are here, you will see some of our partners around here, and who we are going to work together, not only in Busia, but the whole country. The animals you see here, where Sibu Hassan doesn't want to even to turn the camera back to me and show you the team and their representative to say hello to you and to affirm the work we are going to do here. Now here I have Bakr, Dr. Bakr Hassan. Hassan, I think now we are turning back. The animals are enough. Even Dalton is getting threatened. He may run out of the studios. He has never seen such animals. And here on the right, I have one of our partner and his organization, and he's going to talk to other partner organization briefly, because some are in Turkish, and he refused to teach me the Turkish language. But since this Sultan has arrived in the country, he's called Sultan. Sultan means a king. So since he's in the country, he's the one to teach me the Turkish language. Now he's going to introduce this team briefly and why we are here as we wait for the third Deputy Prime Minister. He's called Dr. Becker. Dr. Becker, you are live on one of the strongest and the biggest media in the next media, NBS, Salam, and Sanyuka. Those are the biggest media we are connected to. Now they want to get briefly, very brief, why we are here. Why have you traveled all the way from Turkey to come to Uganda? And briefly introduce the team we are with.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, I wish you all a happy Eid al-Adha. And we are together with our team. They will briefly give a speech in their own language, my language, Turkish. I just want to tell you what Qurban is shortly. Qurban is kafara, redemption. So it is the during the year, we involved in too many sins. and Wallahu al-Azim, Muzungu, they're committing much more sins, gunah, more than you. Then that is why we have to slaughter more animals than you are doing.
So you mean the Wazungus do more than blacks?
Yes, so we need to pay more redemption. Now, inshallah, we're going to be together. And I appreciate my brother, Abdul Karim Khalisa, because he is doing excellent job cooperating with us to make sure our colleagues in Turkey and their donations are reaching the right place. I appreciate Webali Nyanziza. And let me introduce my partner, Mr. Murad. We call him Sultan Murad. Sultan is king. He's the chairman of Uhud, and they are sister charitable organizations. He will speak in Turkish, and I will try to translate shortly. Would you mind it?
Dalton, he's going to give a few words, and you get a chance of at least listening a few words in Turkish, and you can say as he translates.
Yes.
Turkish.
Evet. Esselamu Aleyküm. Öncelikle bayramınız mübarek olsun.
First of all, I wish you a very happy Eid al-Adha, Eid Mubarak.
Bugün burada bu programımızı yapmaya vesile olan Abdülkerim Beyefendi ve Bekir Bey'e de çok teşekkür ediyorum ilgi ve alakanızdan dolayı.
I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to our brother, Mr. Abdul Karim Khalisa and myself, Bekir, for their contribution that we can accomplish this function properly.
Bir Kurban Bayramı'nda ülkemizden uzak olmak bizi hüzünlendiriyor ancak burada bulunmakta gururlandırıyoruz. İyi ki varsınız.
Yes, of course, we are away from our family, and it feels a little bit upsetting. But now here in Uganda, we feel at home, and thanks God you are with us. Thanks God you allow us. You are hosting us.
Bu arada basın görevlisi kardeşlerime de emeklerinden dolayı beyefendi dahil olmak üzere çok teşekkür ediyorum. Hava çok sıcak. Sizleri ve hayvanları da daha fazla bekletmeden inşallah çok kısa tutuyorum sözü. Allah-u Teala hepinizden razı olsun.
Yes, I would like to give special appreciation to the media members, the hard workers, and they are doing excellent job with the head of our brother, Mr. Abu Karim Khalisa. As you see, the weather is too hot, and it is better cut the talk and begin slaughtering. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Dalton, as we come back to studio, this is the team representing the biggest, huge team you are going to see when the third Deputy Prime Minister arrives in this place, where we expect to slaughter thousands and thousands of animals, not only here, but even scattered all over the country. Back to you, Dalton.
But I want to, for the benefit, Haj Karim, for the benefit of our viewers that are not very comfortable with English language, njagala nkuzeeko mu lulimi Oluganda. Ekibatutte mu bumpimpi Haj Karim, nsaba otubuulire ekiki ekiri under Salam Charity ekikututte mu Eastern Uganda, era biki abantu b'omu Eastern Uganda abasiraamu kye basuubira.
Nkweyanziza Dalton, gwe mulundi gwange ogusoose okuwulira ng'oyogera Oluganda, mbadde simanyi nti olumanyi, ate nange Oluzungu lummenya, olunakooye edda amalusu gabadde gampweddemu. Naye bw'ontutte ku sayidi gye nsinga okutegeera obulungi n'emikwano gyange, mbakakasa nti tuli Busia ne bapatanazi baffe okuva mu Europe, naye nga ensi ekulembeddemu yettake, nga baganda baffe bano n'ebitongole byabwe bye mulaba nga bikulembeddwamu ekitongole kye baatuuma mazima, nga bw'okiraba si kya mu lutake, kigambo kyaffe, naye baakikoppa ne bakitwala eri, nabwe nga bwe baagamba nti twakoppako ku bigambo byabwe, afande ekigambo kya Lutake bye basinga okikozesa. Ekituleese wane Busia ne district zonna ezituliraanye mu Eastern kwe kulaba nti tubeera ne baganda baffe bonna, communities zaffe zonna, okuba nti tusala ebisolo bino tuyambagane, tulabe nti buli omu asobola okuba nga musanyufu ku lunaku lwa Eid. Olunaku lwa Eid, olunaku nga luno olwo ng'oggyeko Eid eri gye twamala okusaala, eno Eid ya kusala bisolo. Salam Charity nga tuli wamu ne bapatanazi baffe kwe kujja eno tulabe nti tusenvulako ebigere tuve mu Kampala, twesonyiwe families zaffe, tujje tubeere n'abantu bano. Ensonga za humanities zikulembeddwamu mukama waffe yennyini okuntiko CEO Dr. King, okulaba nti field gye tuli tulina okutambula ennaku zino 3 tubeere n'emikwano gyaffe nga tusala ebisolo ebifaana bwe bityo. Mikwano gyaffe, ensolo zo z'olaba z'ensolo ze basinga okulunda eno mu Eastern region. Baŋŋambye nti bw'oba osobodde okulya ku kasolo ako k'olaba, toddamu kulya biri ebisolo ebinene bye tutera okulaba ng'ente zeetise, emmotoka zituleetera awo mu Kampala ng'ate bazisibye bubi. Naye ente zeeno bwezityo bwe zenkana, si mpanvu nnyo ate si nnyimpi ate nga ziso. Mikwano gyaffe, tusaba omulimu guno baganda baffe bano be tukwatagana nabo ne Salam Charity omulimu gwekola, tukubiriza buli Munnayuganda ekintu kino kye tujjamu Dalton kwe kulaba nti tufunamu omutima of sharing, mufunemu omutima ogw'okuba nti oyagaliza munno, si kusala busazi kisolo. Kabeere kabonero nti gwe ali ku NBS, ali ku Salam TV mu kaseera kano, ofune omukisa ogusobola okuba nti koonooba osazeeko waako munno, bw'oba ofunye kakiro k'omuceeri waako munno. Olwaleero kyekintu kye tuyiga mu lunaku nga luno, okusobola okulaba nti tuyige okuyambagana. Tekikoma lunaku lwaleero, bw'oba oleese enkota y'ettooke lwaleero, even after month, please neighbor, kwatako ekiwago okimuwe. Gwe mulimu ogusingira ddala obunene mu lunaku lwaleero, to learn how to share. Kubanga bwe tutakwatire wamu, ojja kulaba nti class eno eya waggulu ennyo ebeera ekkololo, ebeera ebugoloobi, tejja kufuna akaseera kasobola kukkirira bajje eno nze gye mbeera sayidi zeeri ebbandwe n'erinnya bw'olyogera liriraanye okuba nti buyinza okulowooza nti njogera Mandwa. Kaakati omuntu ali ekkololo nange embeera eri ebbandwe, twawo olunaku olwaleero tuyigiriza ntukwatagana. Kyekireese abazungu bano okuva mu Europe bajjeko wano wansi mu Africa bakwatagane naffe, kubanga bw'okomparinga first world nojja naffe eno mu third world. Dalton tanaba kunsomesa oba twagenze mu second world, nze nkyamanyi kalike nasoma ka third world. Baba bazze okulaba nti bakwatagana naffe, bave mu bulamu bwabwe obusinga okuba obulungi, bajje babeere, kubanga ettaka baliraba wano ssebo, abamu mu baganda bange bendi nabo baliraba for the first time. Kyekitegeeza ssebo nga nkomawo gy'oli, tuyige okuyambagana nga Bannayuganda. Bwe tunaaba nga tuyambaganye, kigenda kubanga kiyamba n'ensi yaffe okubeera stable, nga twagaliza na kwagalana. Ojja kusanga omuntu omu ku kitundu ng'alina obugagga ku akawunti ye, ne bw'aba ng'akutteko kitono nga tatuuse even a quarter, aba asomera okusomesa constituency namba, abaana ne basoma ate ne akawunti ze nga tezikendeddeeko. Tekikuyamba okuba nti osobola okuba nga oyina sente $1 million terese myaka 3 myaka 5 nga waliwo Bannayuganda batambadde engato. Ekigambo ekyo kiyinza obutakuyamba, naye bw'oba nga olina ky'otoddeko nga munnaffe gye bayita endobolo, ngaffe gye tuyita zaka, n'otoolako ekyo ekitono ennyo, kiba kiyinjiwaza sente zo n'okuzikuuma n'okuleeta emitima emirungi mu bantu. Bano abantu abakuba obulawuli, n'oba nga oli mmotoka olaba oli akanyakudde kadduse, oli yasize endabirwamu okutte ku matu, atutte byatutte, kiva mu butayambagana. Singa tusheyalinga equally, teri muntu ajja kuyimirira ku street. Buno obwana obuva eno gye tuzze, gye tubulumbye, obuva eno ne bujja mu Kampala tebujja kujja bwe tunaaba nga tukoze ensonga kye tuyiga mu lunaku lwaffe olwaleero.
Well, Toyanzanyo, it's a pleasure. It's elating to hear from you, Haj Karim, giving us first-hand information regarding the charity, regarding the partnerships that we leverage on under Salam Charity. You're very significant. And also urging the rest of the world, the rest of us, that let's not be like people that were in the pre-Islamic Arabia. If you remember very well the history of pre-Islam, for us who have interested and invested in reading about some of the things, will get that is shocking. The world is getting better each other day, and differently. If it's getting better, what is your contribution in making this world a better place? So compassion. Give people what, help the needy, but also make those sacrifices is very important for us to live in a very, very positive environment that we all desire to be. Treat your neighbor as you love to be treated. Now I want to cross immediately and go to Chibuli, where the Prince Nachibinge, normally as a culture, as a tradition, hosts Muslim after prayers to what they call a chijulo, a luncheon. Let's go there and just treat our ears to information and maybe a touch of traditional music.
NBS happening now. Join the Salam Community Baraza every last Sunday of the month from June to December, where learning meets enlightenment. Expand your knowledge, strengthen your faith, and enhance your overall well-being. Our dedicated team provides valuable insights on Islam, taxation, banking, investment, and motivation. Join us from various districts across Uganda. Gatherings are broadcasted live on Salam TV and on our digital platforms for easy accessibility. Experience a vibrant and inclusive environment for learning and growth. Come and be part of the Salam Community Baraza on a path toward personal and spiritual growth.
Pivot bw'ofuna okukwatirako naawe nyweza okole ijja ne wumula nga totataaganyiziddwa. Pivot ekwataganye n'abantu abatuufu oyimirizeewo empagi y'obusiraamu eya hijja. Waliwo abaggwamu essuubi nga balowooza nti hijja y'abamanyi bokka, mpozzi n'abafumba abeesobola. Pivot neekugamba nti weesevinga nabo kisobokera ddala. Teweenyuma ng'omukyala w'akatale, maama kaduuka, omulimi, omulunzi, omukyala w'awaka, abavubuka, abaana b'amasomero, osobolera ddala okukola hijja ne wumula. Tandika olwaleero okusevinga ne Pivot Pay. Osobola mitwalo 5, mutwalo, sevinga ne Pivot Pay leero. Wulira ekyenjawulo era ekisufu. Bw'osonda ssente za hijja ne wumula ne Pivot Pay ne ziggwayo mu budde, bakuwa omukandala gwa $10 kiramba beddu. awo olugendo ne lukuwoomera enkola nyangu genda ku Google Play Store odownloadinge app ya Pivot Pay otandikirewo okusevinga nabo okumanya ebisingawo kuba ku simu eno 0200 Pivot Pay erungamizibwa bwa Bank of Uganda. Pivot Pay eriwo ku
Win big with Next Radio Cash Dial. All you have to do is dial *238*2*1# and win 100,000 shillings. With 106.1 Next Radio's Morning Switch and the Transit Shows. And the best part is, you have 4 chances to win every day. Just dial *238*2*1# and listen into 106.1 Next Radio for your chance to win. Oh man, this is cool. Terms and conditions apply.
Tukwaniriza ku Sharia Inheritance Services Uganda. Abasangi bakoza Uni Plaza, ground floor, room number G 22. Tukuwa amagezi ku nsonga ez'enjawulo okuyambako mu kuwandiika ekiraamo, tukukuumira ebyobugagga byo ate mu ngeri ey'obwesimbu. Tugabana emaali y'abamulekwa mu Sharia n'okuprocessingira ku biwandiiko nga marriage certificate.
bakubireko ku note 735 ne note 775 beba no aba
Sharia Inheritance Services Uganda.
Ate mu mawulire gaffe agawolokoso MTN erongosezza mu bando zayo eza buli lunaku kati osobola okuba ku mikutu gyonna ku muwendo gwe gumu. Twogeddeko n'abakyerabiddeko n'agaabwe era ng'omu ku bo bw'ati bw'agambye. Amos, wawulidde ekituuse ku MTN Daily Voice Bando? N'olwekyo okwegatta ku bannayuganda abalala abanywi ba bando zino nyiga *M noti *2M# oba kozesa My MTN app. Sigala ku mukutu okumanya ebirungi ebirala okuva mu MTN.
bw'ofuna enniya okola hijja ne umula lowooza ku kimu Tawakal Travel bano bakenkufu mu bino okutambuza obulungi wano n'eri Antinyonyi 5 star okusula obulungi okutambuza abakadde n'abaliko obulemu kitundu ku bo abaana b'amasomero bannabizinensi kw'ossa n'abakungu family holiday package bano bakozesa emikolo mu nkola ya nabbi entuufu. Tawakal Travel bagaba visa n'okugobera ku tiketi y'ennyonyi yonna gye weetaaga basomesa wamu n'okansolinga abali mu buzibu beine kati akadinisa tekakusibira ebweru. Tawakal Travel basangibwa wansi wa paaka enkadde Benikiwonuka Street ku magoba akeedi omwaliro ogwokubiri awo ku muzikiti wennyini. Essimu 070910 oba 0772642993 0759583519 oba kuba 07586404 muwali Mayambala Dr. Chikambi Seka Sebaggala ne Dr. Uzayima. Tawakal Travel abo bibana bamwe.
Better steady, be better.
Woo! Bro, njala kujja sente ku simu yo. Nyamsa ku pini yo.
Niyo bofa. Siso boda.
Tosobola?
Pozi nga pini yo kaje nkuwa.
Ne mwana oba baki.
Sabiriza nnyo nanti.
Better steady. Don't share your pen with anyone, not even your relatives. Better steady, be better. In partnership with Uganda Communications Commission, Bank of Uganda, Equity Bank, MTN Uganda, United Media, Stanbic Bank, MTN Momo, and Uganda Bankers Association.
Eno ye Salam TV.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Amma ba'da balungi abali yonna gye muli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. tugenda maaso n'emisomo gyaffe egy'ennaku zino 10 ezisooka mu mwezi gwa Dhulhijja. Naye bannange luno olunaku lunene nnyo, tusaanye okubeera nti nno twewaayo. Bw'oba osobodde okusaddaaka obudde buweeyo weereke. Bismillahi rahmaani rahim. Bismillahi rahmaani rahim.
Eno ye Salam TV.
Nabbi Musa ono yayagwera nnyo ne Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Olunaku lumu amubuuza nti ya Rabbi, omulezi wange Allah, arni nkusaba ondageko rafiqi fil janna, ndaga ku mukwano gwange agenda okuba mukwano gwange, munywanyi wange, neighbor wange mu jjana. Allah n'abaako mu kifo we yamusindika n'amugamba nti ogenda kusangawo omusajja oyo neighbor wo mu jjana, omusajja oyo mukwano gwo mu jjana. Musa alayhi salatu wassalamu n'asinkana omusajja ono n'amusaba atambuleko naye amukaribishe agendeko naye mu maka ge oba wawangalira. Musajja ono nakkiriza n'atambula ne Nabbi Musa alayhi salatu wassalamu. Naye omusajja nga tamanyi nti ono gw'atambula naye ne Nabbi wa Mungu Musa. Musa we yatuuka mu maka g'omusajja ono wawangalira, omusajja n'ayingira effumbiro najja ne bye yali aguze oba bye yali azze nabyo n'atandika okufumba nga ebanyumya. Oluvannyuma lw'ekyo n'abireeta n'amaliza okunaaba mu ngalo n'awoza bye yali afumbye nga supu, n'ajjayo maama we omukyala yali omukadde n'amuteeka we yamuteeka n'atandika okumunywesa mpola mpola n'atandika okumuliisa. Wabula buli yamuwangayo kasiipu bw'ati n'amuliisa yabangako ebigambo bye yagezangako okwatula ku lulimi lwe. Musa alayhi salatu wassalamu olw'okuba omukyala ono yali mukyala mukadde ng'akaddiye nga tayinza kubiwulira bulungi. Oluvannyuma lw'ebyo byonna omwana ono yasimula ku maama we n'amuzzaayo mu kisenge. Musa alayhi salatu wassalamu abuuza omwami ono nti omukyala oyo gw'obadde naye yani? N'amugamba nti maama wange. N'amugamba nti njagala ombuulire bigambo ki byayogera byakugamba oba bya whispering nga buli wobaako ky'omunywesa. Muvubuka ono kwe kugamba Musa alayhi salatu wassalamu n'amugamba nti maama wange oyo ebbanga lye mmaze nga mulabirira, buli wembaako kye mmunywesa, buli wembaako kye mmuliisa nsabira edduwa egamba Allahumma ja'al ibni, ay Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fuula omwana wange rafiqa Musa fil janna, munfuulire nga neighbor wa Musa mu jjana, munfuulire nga mukwano gwa Musa mu jjana. Musa alayhi salatu wassalamu n'agamba omuvubuka ono n'amugamba nti abshir, nkuwa amawulire amalungi era sanyuka, era genda osanyuse maama wo omugambe nti Allah tabaraka ta'ala edduwa ye yajanukula, nzazze wano nze Musa, Allah jalla jalaaluhu aŋŋambye nti gwe neighbor wange mu jjana era gwe mukwano gwange mu jjana. Bannange ebigambo bino tufunamu ki? Ekigambo ekisooka kye tufunamu nga kikulu nnyo, edduwa y'omukadde yabbeeyi eri omwana wo. Newoba ofaanana otya, newoba mu mbeera ki, newoba munafu otya ku mateeka ga Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ne bwoba weerabamu obunafu obufaanana butya, edduwaayo yabbeeyi ebitagambika eri omwana gw'ozaala. Teriyo muntu wansi wanjuba ayinza kusabira mwana wo dduwa nga yabbeeyi okusinga gwamuzaala. Tusabire abaana baffe babeere abaana ab'empisa, abaana abalimu ensonyi, abaana bannaddiini. Tubisabe Mungu, we tutaabisabe Mungu ayinza obutabituwa, we tulaabimusaba Allah jalla jalaaluhu ajja kubeera nga embeera ekintu ekyakituwa. Bannange tusabire abaana baffe, tugayaalirire omwana, tugivinga nga up ku mwana wo. Omwana wo ye investment esinga okubeera ey'ebbeeyi gy'okoze mu nsi, giteekeko obudde, giteekeko edduwa ekiro n'emisana. Bannange okirabye nti edduwa y'omukadde ya bbeeyi. Lwaki gwe akyalina omukadde, akyalina ekyengera mu byengero ebinene, Allah akyakuumidde bakadde bo? Lwaki omala olunaku nga tumuwulizaako? Lwaki obaako by'okola n'otabimubuulirako kubeera nti akuteeka mu dduwa? Noonya nnyo edduwa ya mukadde wo, kubanga wansi w'enjuba teriyo muntu ayinza kuwa dduwa nga yabbeeyi efaanagana ey'omukadde. Abantu bangi mu nsi banoonya bakadde baabwe bawe ku dduwa, naye tebakyalina bye bayinza bajja. Allah tabaraka ta'ala yabatwala, beegomba era bakwegomba gwe akyalina omukadde. Allah waba akyamukuumidde, faayo nnyo okulaba nti omukadde oyo akuteeka mu dduwa ze, longoosa gy'ali, musabireko, ebbanga lyonna naye ajja kubeera nga akusabira. Nsaba Allah tabaraka ta'ala ateeka omukisa mu zadde lyaffe, abaana baffe abatufuulira abaana ab'omukisa, abawonya endwadde ezibaluma, abafuula abaana abagezi mu nsi, abafuulire
And as of now, where I'm currently standing by is the residence of Prince Kasim Nachibinge, where several people are being treated to a feast. If my camera person can take you around, it already started, because as soon as you are done praying, the expectation is you are either giving out to the people, or you are having lunch with them, or you are having something to share with them. And I mean, several dignitaries are already having lunch here where we are, and several others are still arriving. Those that we prayed with at the mosque are here, but also several others are still arriving. If I am to mention for you, there are several legislators here, there are several dignitaries here that I could not easily mention all, but we have the Lord Mayor here, you have the former legislator for Kawempe North here, who is Honorable Latif Sebagala. You have several individuals, I can say, here attending to this luncheon or to this feast that is expected of individuals to at least have. But the bigger part of it, the expectation is that every other person will eventually have something to eat. Several are being served, the journalists, the several individuals who are here. But I mean, it is just about the festival that it is, Dhuhiya Dhuha, which speaks to certainly that. And joining me this afternoon, I want to know from you what it means today for you, especially now that we are in the critical time of the festival, having the lunch. What would you describe Dhuhiya Dhuha to a person who is watching NBS television?
Okay, I salute everybody. I salute everybody with the best salutation chosen by Allah. In the name of Allah, the omnipotent and the compassionate, the King of majesty and supremacy, to reward you, even you, Shamim, until the day of reckoning. Today, we know is a day that we remember when God had made an agreement with Ibrahim that when I give you a child, you will be able to slaughter him. Ibrahim was bound to slaughter his own son, Ismail. However, Allah, seeing that he was committed, he ordered him to slaughter an animal. And today is also a day that we all know that the Prophet in Arafah made the last sermon. In the last sermon, he said, "Lend me your ears. I may not be around next year. Please, when you hold money on trust, return that money. Treat women with justice and make sure you look after them. You have taken them as your partners, and make sure you do not degrade them or revenge against them. Whenever there are challenges, make sure you dialogue. There is no superiority between a black, an African, an Arab, or any other person." The Prophet went on and said, make sure whenever you have challenges, you refer to Hadith and Sunnah. So that was this month of Dhuhiya when the Prophet made his last sermon. Indeed, when you read and make a prognosis into the last sermon, it inculcates the entire life of a Muslim to be justice, to treat women with a lot of care, because we take them on trust and on agreement. It is on that position that Muslims, whenever you are married, you have to consider and know that when you marry a woman, is not your asset, but you take her on an agreement of Allah. Today, we have a lot of brothers in Arafah. They slept there yesterday and today in order to fulfill to be Hajj and Hajjat. So this is also the fifth pillar of Islam. That means that when you go to Hijjah, you have finished the 5 pillars of Islam. However, it is not compulsory to everybody, only those who can afford.
You talk about a message that encourages especially men to treat either their wives or their sisters or daughters with kindness. How should the population of today reflect on that a message, and how should they relate so much with that message?
Of which one? Kindness? Yes. I think The irony of today, the Prophet said that when one is marrying, you should marry people of your own status. We have a problem now. People marry people not their status. Shamim, you're a graduate. I'm a certificate holder. We are not compatible. We should marry people of your own status. That is one. Two, we should have dialogue whenever we have disputes. And the Prophet said, whenever you have problems, make sure you mediate. But the irony of today, people marry because of money, not love, not kindness. That's why divorce is rampant. That's why yesterday and today they have asked me the rampant DNA saga. A lot of men are suffering from DNA. And I've made some prognosis among women why this one is occurring. They have said, a lot of men today, we don't have time for you, Shamim. And because we don't have time for you, you end up joining or getting your sexual satisfaction to another neighbor, which is a haram. But this is very common. So the best way now, we men, we should create time for our women, and the women should create time for us. The other position, let us marry within our status so that we can manage one another. I'm a degree holder, you're a degree holder. There are compatibility is very important. The other position, Shamim, don't marry me because of professor. Marry a man whom you know that when there are challenges, he has parents, he has people, he respects, that when you report, he will be able to be told to change. A lot nowadays, some of the men of today, they don't have anybody you can speak to, neither the girls. Whenever a conundrum rises, then we are in a dilemma.
That's a bigger concern that you raise. But on a day like today, the bigger part of it, expectation, is a feast. What's the significance of having a feast on Eid al-Dhuha?
The feast of Eid al-Dhuha is today. As I told you, we are remembering the sacrifice. And today, every Muslim is ordered or requested to slaughter an animal, because on the day of Yom Kiyam, on the day of reckoning judgment day, we are going to use the animals as a means of transport. So it is ordered that we should also prepare on the day of accountability. The animals will be the vehicle for transportation. That is one. That's why we slaughter. Secondly, we remember Ibrahim. Thirdly, we remember the last sermon of the Prophet. The other issue, it is also a month of Dhuhiya where many become Hajj and Hajjat, and many of them now are in Arafah.
Many thanks for sharing with us. We hope the viewers of Salam TV and viewers of NBS Television are able to reflect on the different words said, especially words of kindness and words of, reflection on the religion, status, how you have to move with life, how you have to, live differently, kindness within yourselves. Also, the question of marriage, marrying from within one-year circles, marrying from the class or the people that you would be able to respect, or individuals that you'll be able to share with. But different messages keep coming through, and these are words, not just words of wisdom, but words that come from the Holy Quran. What and how should you reflect on these particular words for even those that are performing Hijjah now in Mecca? It is just the same call, the call of how kind you have to be to yourself, the call of how you have to be very closer to your God. And any other person that, or anybody that is closer or has God closer to their hearts, cannot be expected to behave a certain way. And it's within the manner that those that we expect to be sharing, especially the feast, those that are individually here, the expectation is that these among the individuals that fulfill the 5 pillars of Islam as a religion, but also as it's within us as a culture, as Muslims, that you have to live by the 5 pillars as is, but also to live within the acceptable manners of society, acceptable behaviors of society. For people like you, Dalton Kawesa, who would want to be part of this religion by the name Kamada that you are given by Wampamba, there's a lot of things that you have to learn on a day like today, especially being generous. It's quite a bigger thing, and there are many that have come to believe that the bigger reason why Muslims have kept within a particular status is because they are very generous people, but also they are very key to society and a lot of things that they keep sharing about. Now, joining me this afternoon is Dr. Muhammad Chigundu, who is a spokesperson of Chibuli, but also, I mean, by the virtue of the capacity that he holds as Dr. Chigundu, who is known as a scholar, there's a lot of things for us to share with him this afternoon. This morning, actually, it's not yet afternoon. Doctor, a very good morning to you.
Good morning.
We would want to have a particular picture painted to society with the different questions from within the people. What should a day like today reveal to the population? What should it comfort them with? Idi Dhuhiya.
Thank you. Eid Mubarak, Eid Mubarak, Eid Mubarak. This Eid is very eminent because we look at the picture of Prophet Ibrahim. Prophet Ibrahim was tested by Almighty Allah, but his testing was purposive because everyone had to learn from him. First, what we learned from him is the art of patience, because patience wins by the end of the day. He did not have a child, prayed to God. For so many years he didn't. At 86, that's when God answered the prayer. You can imagine that patience. Number two, when he got a son, God then again tested him. He said, you have to slaughter this son, sacrifice him. He got his dream, and he told his son that, my son, anytime I put my head down, I see myself slaughtering you, offering you for sacrifice. But he did ask his son, and it's my son, what do you have to say? So number two, we learn what we call training a child, what we call training a child between a father and a child. They were friends. People should be friends with their children. It's not a question that because you have the powers, you are a father, you are a mother, you just grab a child. And you know, a prophet's dream is a revelation. So he had to fulfill. He could have grabbed it, but he said, no, let me ask the son. So you see what we get out of that, that his father and the son are supposed to be friends. So the boy said, Daddy, do as God has instructed you. Reason is, I don't want you to lose. So both of us have got to benefit. So that's one other issue, family, in issues of training the children, being friends because you are the parents. Three, obedience. That for the child, you yourself, whoever is there, you are supposed to obey the father, your parents, because they've given you the friendship, and whatever they bring to you, they will explain and you agree. And then number four, we human beings are supposed to know that we relate with our God. And relating with our God is what Ibrahim did. He got a vision. He did not deny or shying away from what God had instructed him, but he had to fulfill that. So you can see, we learn the relationship between God and us. That's how Ibrahim related. And we can also learn, number five, out of that we relate with other creatures and animals, because it's not about human beings, how to slaughter an animal. Because when Ibrahim was slaughtering or sacrificing the son, he did not go to cut with a knife that was not sharp. But because Almighty Allah had gotten a demonstration to us, he disabled the sharpness. It couldn't cut him until he sent him a sheep from down. That was to tell us that no human being should be sacrificed, but animals. And when the animal came down, the sacrifice was that he cut it, slaughtered it with a sharp knife in order not to inflict pain on it. So that's also another issue that we can learn. And finally, sharing is very important.
Doctor.
Give out, give, and when you slaughter, the food, the meat is not only for you. There are so many poor people who cannot afford, and they need your help. So for those people who can afford, distribute what you have. Generosity is very important. You have got to care for the rest of them.
Doctor, you talk about generosity, you talk about patience, and you talk about belief from within somebody as key things, especially from what you reveal about Ibrahim, Prophet. How should the population today be able to learn from that? How is it possible today that several individuals do not have patience?
The population wants you to learn. You are encountered with so many difficulties, I understand. And every one of us has something that they call is very difficult. But you are not the first. You got Ibrahim, he did it. If you feel you are going under a situation with no poverty, whether with poverty, you go to know, pray to your God. Because what you learn is that a prayer to God works. Ibrahim prayed to his God. He said, Rabbi hibli min as-salihin. God, give me the righteous, give me the right son. He gave him. So what is that problem that can keep you forever not to answer the prayer that you're supposed to be obedient to your God? So you do that. I know some of you, the economy is too tough, but things are there. And then you go to expect and have the hope that things will also be better, because what we are looking at today is not what you are going to see today. Ibrahim worked for 86 years, no son. And then he came at 86, he got the son. And when the son became of age, he was told to sacrifice. Look at that. So what is that you have which is too heavy for you as a community? Love one another. Be security conscious, because even Ibrahim had Satan around, confusing him not to slaughter the son. He said, well, your father is going to slaughter. He said, no. The boy said no. So be security conscious. There are so many others who may take you around to think that, they are good people, yet they are wrong characters. These are issues we learn out of that. And also what we call self-satisfaction is important, in the sense that God is the sole provider. But you have to relate with those who have gotten better chances. Relate, get to them. Do not shy away from them. Ask them, befriend them. Through those people, you'll be able to overcome. Because God says in the Holy Quran, هو الذي جعلكم خلائف الأرض ورفع بعضكم فوق بعض درجات ليبلوكم فيما آتاكم. It is Him who made you the vicegerent of this world, and He raised you in ranks over the others, but the reason is to test you. So for you who does not have, and you fail to reach out for those who have the brain, who have the money, who have it, who have got the art of working it out, why don't you go to them? Go to them. You'll find that they will expect help. They will expect you to go to them. And those who have, also give out to the rest and guide them. So this is how we can survive. We need one another. Synergies, this is what we can get from Ibrahim. It is an all-round picture that Ibrahim gave to the community.
One would ask what the prayers to this nation would be like from you. If there are things that you would want at least the country to be very passionate about in addressing, or things that you want the population, youth that is more than 78%, the general issues that affect the people in their way of life, which are those issues that you would want the population to reflect on and pray about on a day like today?
First, you should pray for your children. First, it's your responsibility to bring up a child, because charity begins at home. If you know your child is there like Ibrahim did, he used to go with him to trade and to do whatever he used to do. But if you keep your child and you fail to train them, how are we going to solve this? Because let's avoid senza unico. That is one form of direction where we think that is where a child or a person can have benefits of life. No, we've got to try out different opportunities. Encourage the children, because we know what we call is unemployment is a problem. But we've got to try out different opportunities. I just want to call upon the youth not to shy away from what they call cheap stuff, cheap job. No, that cheap job, it's you to make it better, earn out of it, and you become a person. And again, we have got to be creative. Let's run away from the issue of employment, being employed. We can do it. Sit down as a group of young men. With the advice of those elders, you'll find a way and you'll get there. And two, we've got to pray for peace, because where there's no peace, there's no way. And if there's peace, then it will give what we call room for development, and then we can have our country.
Lastly, from us, we cannot live without asking you about what reflection you have about the passing of the regulation on the financial institutions, especially on Islamic banking. What does it come with?
Oh, well, that is great. I just want to take this opportunity to thank the President of Uganda, his government, and the Parliament for having passed the bill, because I know this bill is part of the rescue of our economy. And generally, it is going to help the government and the public at large, because there's no interest. So I just want to call upon you to go and utilize this opportunity when implemented, because this is the only system that is going to rescue people from the exorbitant, interests that have been actually placed on the people by the banks. But it doesn't mean that the banks are going to die, because they also work with the Islamic system. So this one is an all-round system which we have been missing, and it has to work, and it's going to work. And secondly, for every one of you, as long as you believe in La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, please give zakah. It is through your zakah that these people who are needy can be helped. If you leave them and they become destitute, you are not going to have any safety. You are not safe yourself. But this is the system of Islam, zakah, which has got to help out with the others, and they don't have a problem. They don't become a problem to you. So Islamic banking works in conjunction with the support of what we call the zakah to look at every community, because it does not discriminate Muslim, not Muslim. Make use of it, and God bless you, and kul aam wa antum bikhair. May you be at the best in the rest of the year and every year in the year. Eid Mubarak, Eid Mubarak.
Thank you very much for sharing with us, Dr. Kigundu. I mean, there's a lot that people are sharing with us, and for those that are watching NBS television, for sure we know that the entire world, the entire country should be watching NBS television and Salam television. That there's a scope of things that you have to learn from the different individuals, especially scholars like Dr. Kigundu, not just the political arena, but what that Islamic banking comes with is critical, and we wait to see whether the president assents to it as is, it's accepted, or returned to parliament for changes to be made. But there's a lot more for us to keep sharing about, especially on a day like today, how we have to reflect on the different things. What a day like today, in an economy like this one, in the political environment as is, reflects. I want to speak to the Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago to understand in his own perspective what is important for a nation like Uganda to be celebrating today, away from the fact that it is Eid al-Adha.
Well, I take this opportunity to congratulate all members of the Muslim faith upon reaching this very great day in the calendar of our faith, the Ummah. And I salute you all, those who have managed to perform the rite of sacrifice, and those who have made it to the respective mosques for prayers. I salute you all. And on the gist of the day we are celebrating, the significance rather, well, we reflect on the values that we hold dear, the values that we cherish, that especially the value of sacrifice for humanity. Nabi Ibrahim sallallahu alaihi wasallam was meant to sacrifice his own son, according to the teachings, and it was it was divine intervention that he was given a sheep to slaughter, and since then we have inherited that ritual, which has been bequeathed on to generations, and will always be there for eternity. So the message to us is that, well, we shouldn't sacrifice human beings, but today, man eats man. It's the order of the day. Actually, what is ruling in this country, and probably the whole world, is the rule of the jungle, where man eats man, which is really very, very unfortunate. I wish we could reverse that. So on a day like this, we reflect on that critical values. That is what we call halal, which is permitted, and haram, which is prohibited.
One would want to understand, how did then the world get to this? That man has to eat man? Where?
Well, it is the sheer avarice. That is nothing else. Gluttony, I should say. Because you find those who are well endowed, those who have wealth, are the ones who are hankering for more, who are yearning for more, who are killing the vulnerable, who, for example, those who have had power for a long, long time. You could imagine. You have been blessed to lead the country for 40 years. What more do you want? Just retire and somebody else comes in. So it is sheer avarice, nothing else. And it's very, very unfortunate. Even in business circles, you find the people who are well off, the tycoons in the city, are the ones who are grabbing people's land. They are the ones who are oppressing the most vulnerable, the indigents. They are the ones who are taking away, because it is even said in the teachings that those who have those who have not will always have the little they have taken away by those who have, which is really very, very unfortunate. So what we need today is for humanity to reflect on this critical value. We go back to the basics and embrace those values that we hold dear, and some of the values which are enshrined in our constitution. For example, rule of law, constitutionalism. It's one of such virtues which have eluded us for generations, for decades. Very, very unfortunate. The history of this country is awash with bloodshed simply because we have failed to embrace rule of law, and instead we have embraced rule of the jungle, where rule of the jungle, the principle is survival for the fittest.
Is there room for that to be changed?
Well, one, that's the reason we beseech the Almighty Allah to intervene, to intercede for us. We are seeking for God's providence, because one may say it can only exist in an utopian world. It can't be in this world. But I think there are democracies that we can look at. They provide us with clear templates. There are those who have made attempts. For example, yes, one would say Saudi Arabia is also they have their own shortcomings and whatnot, but at least you would find some degree of equity, fairness, relative respect for humanity. Somehow, there are those values right now. Go to Mecca, go to Medina right now. Everybody is treated equally. So why shouldn't we also inherit or emulate some of those values? We entrench them within our body politic here, so that we be fair to one another. The principles of equity, the principles of fairness, the principle of justice, even the elementary principle of just being fair to one another. For example, you have so many people now on remand, where the government is saying we are still looking for evidence. They have been on remand for decades, for so many years, not decades, for so many years, contrary to the dictates of the Constitution. And the DPP is saying we are still investigating. They keep on adjourning cases and adjourning cases. But just last week, she treated us to something weird. With due respect, those who admitted having shared the iron sheets for the vulnerable people in Karamoja, they admitted they took shares, including number 2 in the country, the vice president, the speaker, the minister for finance, a couple of them, top echelon of government. They considered that they took these iron sheets. Now the DPP said, we have no evidence. At least they should have been taken to court. At least they should have appeared before. And they also get through those troubles of seeking for bail. Do you know what it means? Many people are struggling to get bail on trumped-up charges, which is really very, very unfair. These are the principles of fairness and equity we are talking about. At least those ones, they can always be inculcated within our society. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Lord Mayor, for sharing with us. We
May you celebrate well with your families.
Thank you very much for sharing with us. But those are the different individuals who are sharing with us, who are currently here having a feast at Prince Kasim Nachibenge's home after Idi Abdullah prayers that we just had about 2 hours ago. By 9 a.m. we were praying, but several activities since then until now have been ongoing, and we'll bring you up to speed with how the different individuals are currently sharing with us and what particular events are currently happening. In a few minutes from now, we shall be hearing from Prince Kasim Nachibenga, who will be delivering his speech right here to us, as several individuals, as different characters keep sharing with us. And we'll take you to listen in on what the events are happening here and what exactly is transpiring. Dalton and the viewers, we expect that we can be able to listen in on how events are unfolding here.
Well, thank you very much, Shamim, for that update from Prince Nachibenge's home, where he's going to be serving a luncheon, Eid luncheon, to members of the Muslim community, especially those, the leaders in the different spheres of life, religion and political leaders. I want to go to Ali Kasuja to give us an update where he is, and as we wrap up this broadcast. Yes, Ali Kasuja, if you are there, I want to, I will be speaking to Ali Kasuja shortly, and definitely one of the things that we should pay attention to is what are the norms of Lombo Lombo what is happening today as we celebrate. We need to find out what the ideals of the day are, and when we do, definitely we'll be walking in tow with the preaching according to the Quran. Let's listen in to what is happening elsewhere.
Kutola butozi Salam wenkukiriza abantu bakulabeko. Sebo Jajja, Supreme Mufti Sebo Seka Mukuru. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Zikiriza Jajja nsabye jasaka akadakiika kamukoka nayanziza nnyo okusaba abantu ba umma basabire eggwanga ku nsonga z'obwenkanya. Jajja twolina abantu betwali badde nabo wano olwaleero naye nga tebasobodde kubeerawo. Abamu batuvudde ku maaso mu ngeri ey'obukambwe, abalala basibe tebasobodde kubeera wano. Jajja waliwo omuntu omwannume eyali badde wano ye Magala. Umaru Magala abali ku Kibuli mummanyi bulungi. Omwana oyo abadde akola mu ofiisi ewange era gy'akola baamukwata ne bamujwetekako ebisange bya terrorism nti aweesa ebbomu. Umaru omwana weggonjebwa, omwana ow'emirembe, omukkakkamu, abamumanyi mumumanyi era yali badde kubeetala wano ne bamutwala e Luzira. Baamuleese wiiki ewedde ne batugamba bakyanoonya bujulizi ne bamuzzaayo akomawo mwezi ogujja. Naye ekinnuma Jajja katono maliriza bumaliriza nti mu wiiki y'emu DPP n'agamba nti abanene mu gavumenti abajja emisango egy'amabaati ng'ate bakkiriza nti baagagabana nga n'obujulizi weebuli. Twalirabyeko nabo nga bagendako mu Kaguli, ndabe namba 2 mu ggwanga, namba 3 mu ggwanga, Minister of Army nga bayimiriddeko mu Kaguli nabo basabeko ku bbeeru bamanye kye bayitamu. Naye n'ogaa nti ate Umaru ne banne bakyanoonya bujulizi. Kiruma Jajja ne Ssekuluma yonna nti bakyanoonya bujulizi. Twasabye waakiri babatwale mu High Court gye balina obbawozesa kuba kkooti eyawansi tebalina buyinza. Oli n'agamba tebannalaba bujulizi, ate abaliko obujulizi bo tebali mu kkooti. Musabire ensi yaffe, buli ayiwa omusaayi olwaleero oguli halaali, tusabe omusaayi gwa halaamu gukome. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Idi Mubaraka. Alaikum salam. Haji Latifu obudde babulidde bw'ojja toola salaamu yokka. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Fadhillahi ta'ala. Webale kunnyanguyizaamu. Kwesitakoonyeko ansonyiwe naye abagenyi bo tulina bangi, mwenna tubalabye mu bitiibwa byammwe naye munzikirize enkomaawo n'okwanjula. Pozi ku sayidi y'abakyala Hajati Muzaana n'abazaana gye bali babawubireko buwubizi kajjambu. Tusanyuka balaba abazaana. Nsabe Mukama waffe ajje ayogereko gye tuli, nkimanyi mumulindiridde era bw'anaabajja nja kusaba musome takbir paka bw'anaatuuka wano. Allahu akbar, la ilaha illallah, Allahu akbar, Allahu akbar, walillahi alhamd. Saba mbuga tukulindiridde ojja otubuuzeeko.
Allahu akbar, Allahu akbar, Allahu akbar. Allahu akbar, Allahu akbar, Allahu akbar. لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر الله Hello. So, Your Eminence, Supreme Mufti wa Uganda, bakadde bange bamashekhe mwenna abali wano, omukulu w'abamashekhe, Lord Mayor w'ekibuga Kampala, ababaka b'abantu ab'ebitiibwa mwenna bahaji ne bahajjatu, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Twebaza Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala atusizza ku lunaku luno olwa Idi Adhuha nga tusaba Mukama Katonda akkirize byonna byonna bye tuyiseemu okutwasemba okubeera wano era abe ng'atuweemu mpeera nnungi ku ebyo bye tusobodde okukola. Twegatta ku bannaffe abali kati mu hijja, abali mu mikolo egy'okumaliriza ya hijja, nga tusaba Katonda akkirize abwe naffe akkirize edduwa zaffe. Allahumma amin. Ffenna nga bwe tumanyi Idi Adhuha, Idi ya kusolo, Idi ya kwenenya, ya kusanyuka na kudda eri Mukama Katonda. Tusaba abantu ba Allah mwenna gye muli nga tubayizaayiza okutuuka ku lunaku luno olwaleero, nga tubasaba mube nga mutambulira mu ekyo eky'omugaso oba ffenna kye tulina okukola ku lunaku luno, nga tusaaka eri mikwano bamirirwana baffe naye okusingira ddala bannaffe abo abatalina. Ekigendererwa mu kino ffenna tusobole okuba nga ku lunaku nga luno tulina ke tuzza eri omumwa, tulina nga tutambulira mu buufu bwa bajjajjaffe abaasooka okubeera ku nsi kuno. Kigambo kino tujja kusaba Allah bawaddeyo akantu tube nga tugabana ne bannaffe abatalina. Kino tukyogedde emirundi mingi, tutweggyemu obukodo tugabane n'ebyo Allah byasobodde okutuwa. Omuntu omukodo omulabira nnyo mu mizigiti, tunebaleeta akabokisi ayinza okugaana okubaako kaasuulamu, naye ng'ate omuntu y'omu yagamba nti wange omuzigiti nga tebaguyonja, naye ate n'abanga naye talina contribution gy'akoze okulaba nga omuzigiti ogwo gutereera. Era oli bw'awa akabokisi bw'alemerawo afazaali asoma obulaadi ne bw'aba nga yabusomye dda naye nga kyonna kyonna alwana butabaako ky'ateeka. Ngozizzaayo kale tubasaba ti si lwaleero lwokka naye mu nsi muno tugabane n'ebyo Allah ffenna byasobodde okuba nga atuwa, naye okusingira ddala okuwa abo bannaffe abatalina ke bazza eri. Njagala nnyo okubeebaza mwenna abasobodde okubeerawo ku lunaku lwa Sande nga tujaguza nga tujjukira emirimu bajjajjaffe gye baakola mwenna abasobodde okubeerawo nga bwe mba mulimu kye twayize mu mikolo gino ffenna tukole lillah. Allah ajja tweyimirira, ebikoleddwa bijja gasa abanajja oluvannyuma nga tuvuddewo. Bano senga baali tebakoze bye baakola nga babikola lillah, emikisa mingi ekifaananyi ky'obusiraamu mu ggwanga lino kyandibadde kifaanana bulala. Tubeebaza bannaffe mwenna, mwebale kutukwatirako, mwebale kujja. Allah mwenna buli omu amusasule bulungi bwereere. olwaleero we tutuukidde wano tutwala omukisa guno okusaasira bannayuganda abalina abantu baabwe be baafiirwa mu basirikale abaafiira e Somalia, abafiiridde mu bulumbaganyi e Kasese, n'abo bannaffe abafiiriddwako abantu baabwe mu bitundu ebitali bimu eby'eggwanga, gamba ng'Emityana waddeyo obubbi obutaggwa, e Masaka, ebijambiya byekanga ebiri mu ffeeza endala n'ebitundu ebitali bimu. Bannaffe mwenna tubasaasira nga tusaba Katonda abasibe ebimyu, naye mu mwoyo gwe gumu tujja kusaba bannaffe abalina obuvunaanyizibwa tukuuma n'ebyaffe babe nga bawa obukuumi ffenna ffenna abali mu ggwanga lino Uganda kyenkanyi, tusobole okuba n'emirembe ate era buli omu asobole okugyeyagaliramu. Kimulirwanaawo bw'aba nga talina mirembe naawe tojja gifuna. Kino okirabira ku bakungu ba gavumenti n'abanene abamu abali wano, omulaba nga bw'aba atambula ayita n'emmundu nnyingi nnyo. Obunkeeka obuva kuba nti mulirwanaawo tateredde. Senga ffenna tuba tuteredde, tewali muntu kifuula kibuga kyaffe kubanga ekiri mu lutalo kibuli munene gw'olaba alina emmundu 3, 4, 5 n'ogamba naye kati zino zonna senga zikuumye bannayuganda ffenna twandibadde nga tulina emirembe. Tubasaba kintu ekyo mukitunulemu mube nga abantu bonna beeyagalira mu nsi yaabwe Uganda. Myezi 3-4 egiyise enguudo mu Kampala n'ebitundu ebimu zibadde mu mbeera mbi nnyo. Njagala okusiima omulimu ogukoleddwa okugezaako okuba ebiraka wano ne wali tusobole okuba nga tutambula nga tetulina nnyo buzibu mu nguudo zaffe ez'e Kampala. Ekyennyamiza nti kolansi ate bamukuba mu ttaka, simanyi bbanga ki ekyo ekikoleddwa bwe kinaasobola kuwangaala, naye nga tusiima ako akatono akakoleddwa. Oba oli awo mu bajeti mulimu ssente ezaateereddwamu okuba nga ddala enguudo zino zikolebwa ddala, ffenna ne tuba nga tutambulirako nga tuzeesiimisa. Olwaleero lunaku lwa kusala bisolo n'ennaku eziddako, tetwagala bakooya nnyo, twabatuuza ku lunaku olwa Sande. Ebigambo byaffe tebijja kuba bingi. Twebaza mwenna abasobodde okujja n'okusaala Idi nga tusaba Katonda mwenna buli omu abe nga amuwa mirembe. Ffenna olunaku lwa Idi lunaku lwa kusanyuka, si lwa kukola, naye okugyako bana bannaffe ababeera mu service industry nga bannamawulire bano bokka be balina enkizo okuba nga bo basigala bakola ku lunaku zino ennaku eza Idi. Tubata mangu musobole okuddayo mubeere ne famirizi zammwe n'ab'omu maka, muleme ate kugamba nti twabasuyisizza wano omuntu n'ava wano ku ssaawa 5 n'atuuka ewuwe 12 n'agamba aludde wa mbuga. Ekyondooza nakyo si kituufu. Tubata mangu musobole okubeera n'abantu b'omu nnyumba yammwe. Bokka bano ab'omu service industry be balina enkizo okusigala nga bakola. N'emikwano gyange enfiira bulago bambega, abo bo tebava ku mulimu, balina okusigala nga bakola. Naye simanyi lwaki bamala obudde ku nze kubanga byenjogera mu lwatu byenjogera mu kyama, ate ne bw'onojja wano n'otuuka bakama abo kuba TV kweziri biba byatuuseeyo dda. Kale tubaaniriza naye nga mwebala omulimu gwe mukola, naye obuzibu bwonna ate kujweteka, ate nakulinda musiraamu ng'asaala ali ku sujudu n'oyagala awulire byaloopa ewa Mukama Katonda. Ebyo tebikkwatako yahe, muleke ayogere byonna. Oba bebaza na mirimu gye mukola, naye bannaffe tubeebaza nnyo omulimu ogwe mukola, senga mugwongera mu kulaba ti ebyobukesi mu bantu abatemulwa, ababbibwa, abali mu ebyo nga mubakwata tebannaba kuba kukola ebyo ebivve. Mwebale nnyo. Wakulu am wa antum bikhairi. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Eid Mubarak. Kino ky'abannaffe ab'amawulire English Bite. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As we celebrate Eid al-Adha, I take this opportunity to salute all brethren and congratulate them on this day of Eid al-Adha. We all know that Eid al-Adha is a day of sacrifice, is a day of feasting, not fasting, is a day when we share the bounties given to us by Allah between our family and friends, but more so the less privileged. We ask all Ugandans and all brethren, please try to share what Allah has given you with all those that are in need. It is the practice which we commend that all of you take heart and share the bounties given to us by the Almighty Allah. I wish to commend all of you who turned up on Sunday when you had the function to celebrate the contributions and the services of forefathers for what they did for the spread and propagation of Islam. We thank you for having turned up in large numbers. We thank you for having been part of history when we celebrate their contributions. If there's anything we've learned from these functions and from their work, is that we should always work for posterity. For posterity, everything will benefit you in your time, but will benefit many others who will come after we've gone. I also wish to sympathize and send a message of condolences to all those who lost their life, their beloved ones who were on duty in Somalia, those who lost their loved ones in Kasese, and in many parts of the country, in Mitiana, in Masaka, and in so many other places. We pray that Allah may give them, may Allah rest their souls in peace. All we ask from security agencies, please be more vigilant so that everybody can enjoy this country in peace. We have enough resources, there's enough for all of us, but we only ask that please provide enough security to all of us so that we can all live in peace and harmony. I also wish to state that in the last 3 or 4 months, the road transport in Kampala, the roads were in a very sorry state. I wish to commend all those in Kampala State Council, in the Ministry of Works, for the work they have done in trying to patch up many of these holes. It's now a lot better, but we are not yet there. The only problem is that we have been using Maram to repair these tarmac roads. We pray that in the next coming financial year, we see a resealing of all these roads so that we can move peacefully in Kampala. Why we raise these issues is that those who have the luxury of driving ram-shackled vehicles, whenever you send it to town, you have to also send it to mechanic for repair. So that's why it is a big deal. Because once you go through these potholes, the damage to these vehicles is there for everybody to see. But we thank you for the interventions you've done, and we think you can do a lot better than what you've done, and we think we shall always be together. As we said, this is a day of sacrifice, is a day of feasting, not fasting. We have to let you retire home, enjoy join your families and friends, and celebrate Eid al-Adha in peace. We thank all of you for having turned up. May the Almighty Allah bless all of you and guide us. And we meet again by the grace of Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa kullu am wa antum bi khair. Saba Supreme Mufti atuwe edua n'oluvannyuma tubenga tuddayo okusinkana abaagala baffe. Mwebale nnyo okujja. Mpozi nga tannaba nninanye atoole salamu. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Eid Mubarak.
الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين اللهم إنا نسألك حسن الخاتمة ونعوذ بك من سوء الخاتمة واغفر لنا والوالدين وارحمهم كما ربونا صغار وصلى اللهم على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Jabasaba mpola nga wemubuuza ku mbuga tujja kukola layini awo abagala.
Very constructive message that is coming from Prince Nachibinge. He's just walked into what related with what others had indeed spoken about. The quest for justice for some of the people that have been arrested and also the follow-ups from the investigative arm of government. A giddy message and a message that he has shared with the people that have gone to check on him and share a lunch, Eid lunch with him. Very important messages. We also heard it from Kutuba from Chibuli Mosque before we came down to the residence of Prince Nachibinge. Earlier in the day, in the morning, we had also heard from this Muft Mubaje, who lashed at people misusing the social media to insult just because they have data on them. He say advised that they should use the space for constructive activities which will develop and transform the community. For myself and the crew, the back end crew, headed by one of Marcel, we thank you for being part of this broadcast, Eid broadcast, as we celebrate Eid Mubarak for the Muslim brothers, those that have invited the communities. Thank you so much. It's always important that you invite and share with people. Remember, the Eid of Sacrifice talks about three, what I would call three tributes. That is 1, sharing with your family, 2, sharing with your neighbor, 3, sharing with those that are in dire need. If you have a healthy animal that you're going to slaughter, please do not hesitate to share it, because they call onto Islam and why Prophet Ibrahim did the sacrifice. 1 was to show compassion, the duty of care for others, but also most importantly to the allegiance that he showed to his Almighty. My name is Dalton Kawesa. We've had a different crew out there. Shamim Nabakoza, we had Hakim Kanyere, we had Hakim Wampamba, we had Oliver Nakalembe, we had Ali Kasuja trying to bring us live the events that have been happening definitely, and not forgetting Haji Karim, who is in the eastern part of this country, and they are going to be distributing different communities meat that has been donated through the Salam Charity Partnership. Dalton Kawesa is my name. Stay here, and thank you very much for being part of this broadcast.
Steady, be better.
Woo! Bro, njala kuja sente kusimuyo. Nyamsa kupiniyo.
Niyo wofa. Sisobola.
Tasobola?
Pozi nga piniyo kajenguwa.
Ne mwana baba bachi.
Sabiriza nnyo nanti.
Better Steady. Don't share your pen.